The old manor loomed, a monument to forgotten sins. Blackwood Manor, a name whispered in fear, a place where shadows moved, where darkness breathed. I never wanted to return. The inheritance drew me back, this grand, terrible place, now mine. Or was it? The iron gates groaned, as if warning me. I drove through, my heart pounded. I was home, but not safe. The manor was vast, oppressive. The air hung heavy, thick with dust and decay. My footsteps echoed in the cavernous halls. My name is Arthur. Thrust into this nightmare by the death of my great-aunt, the last of the Blackwoods. I wandered the empty rooms, each one filled with shadows. The house creaked around me, whispering secrets. I felt a presence, watching, waiting. Nightfall. I lay in bed, unable to sleep. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the house, groaning and sighing. A sound, faint, from the end of the hall. A whisper. My blood ran cold. I told myself it was the wind, but the whispers grew louder, closer. I grabbed my flashlight, heart pounding. I had to face it, whatever lurked in the darkness. I crept down the hallway, each step echoing in the silence. The whispers grew louder. They seemed to be coming from my great-aunt's room. I reached the door, pushed it open, and froze. Standing in the moonlight was a figure, a woman, dressed in white, her back to me. "Hello?" My voice trembled. The figure didn't move. I took a step closer. The floorboards creaked. The figure turned. Section 5, a ghastly discovery. The woman's face was ashen, her eyes hollow. She stared at me with an intensity that sent chills down my spine. Her presence was overwhelming, a cold aura that seemed to seep into my very bones. Her mouth opened as if to scream, but no sound came out. It was a silent cry of agony, a desperate plea that echoed in the silence. The sheer terror of the moment was paralyzing, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. My mind was racing, trying to comprehend the horror unfolding before me. The room seemed to close in, the walls pressing in as I struggled to regain my balance. The woman glided towards me, her eyes never leaving mine. There was a haunting grace to her movements, an otherworldly fluidity that defied logic. Each step she took seemed to draw her closer, yet she moved without a sound. I scrambled to my feet and ran. Panic surged through me, driving me forward with a desperate urgency. The hallway stretched out before me, a seemingly endless path that I had to traverse to escape the nightmare. I didn't stop running until I reached my room, my sanctuary, my last refuge. I could feel the weight of the ghostly presence behind me, a relentless force that threatened to overtake me at any moment. I slammed the door shut, leaning against it, gasping for breath. My chest heaved with exertion, and I could feel the cold sweat trickling down my back. The silence on the other side of the door was deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos that had just ensued. I had to get out of this house. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This place was a prison, a haunted labyrinth that held me captive. I needed to find a way out, to escape the clutches of the supernatural terror that lurked within these walls. My mind raced with thoughts of escape, each one more desperate than the last. I knew I couldn't stay here any longer. The house was alive with malevolent energy, and I was its prey. I had to muster every ounce of courage and find a way to break free from this ghastly nightmare. Section 6. The Curse of Blackwood Manor. Morning came, but offered no comfort. The sun's rays barely pierced through the dense fog that enveloped the manor, casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the old house settling. The fear lingered, heavy in the air. It was as if the very walls of Blackwood Manor were whispering secrets, secrets that were never meant to be uncovered. Each step I took echoed through the empty hallways, amplifying the sense of dread that had taken hold of me. I had to know more about this house, about the ghostly woman. The stories I had heard were too chilling to ignore, and the strange occurrences I had witnessed only fueled my curiosity. I spent hours poring over old books and documents, searching for any clue that could shed light on the manor's dark past. I found an old journal. In the attic, my great aunt's. It told a tale of forbidden love, a jealous husband, and a wife. The journal's pages were filled with heart-wrenching entries detailing a love affair that had ended in tragedy. The more I read, the more I felt a connection to the woman whose spirit was said to haunt the manor, buried alive in these walls. Her name was Eleanor. The journal revealed that Eleanor had been betrayed by her husband, who, in a fit of rage, had sealed her within the walls of the manor. Her spirit, unable to find peace, now roamed the halls, seeking justice for the wrongs done to her, and she was said to haunt Blackwood Manor, seeking revenge. The thought of Eleanor's restless spirit filled me with a mix of fear and sorrow. I could almost feel her presence, watching me, waiting for the moment to reveal herself. On any who dared to live here, I was trapped. The realization hit me like a cold wave. I was not just a visitor in Blackwood Manor, I was a part of its story now. The curse that had claimed Eleanor's life was now entwined with mine, and there was no escaping it. The manor had claimed another soul, and I could only hope to uncover the truth before it was too late. Section 7. Trapped. Days turned into nights, each one more terrifying than the last. Eleanor's presence grew stronger. Her ghostly whispers followed me everywhere I went. I tried to leave, but every time I reached the front door, it slammed shut, an unseen force holding me captive. I was a prisoner in my own home. Fear gnawed at me. I was running out of time. I had to break the curse before it consumed me. Section 8. A desperate escape. I searched the journal for any clue to break the curse, and then I found it. A ritual to appease Eleanor's restless spirit. It was a long shot, but my only hope. I followed the instructions, gathering the necessary items. An old mirror, a white rose, and a silver locket. I found them all. Hidden away in the attic, the ritual was specific. I had to perform it at the stroke of midnight in Eleanor's old room. Section 9. The haunting truth. The night was still, the air heavy with an unsettling silence. The manor loomed in the darkness, its ancient walls whispering secrets of the past. The full moon, partially obscured by dark clouds, cast an eerie glow over the scene, adding to the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. Midnight. I stood in Eleanor's room. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, making the antique furniture seem almost alive. The room was a relic of a bygone era, filled with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the curtains seemed to echo with the ghosts of the past. The air was thick with dread. I held the mirror, its ornate frame cold and heavy in my hands. The glass was old, slightly warped, reflecting a distorted version of reality. As I gazed into it, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me from the other side, something ancient and malevolent. The rose, the locket, both relics of a tragic love story that had ended in sorrow and despair. The withered rose, once vibrant and full of life, now a symbol of lost hope. The silver locket, tarnished with age, held secrets that had been buried for far too long. Just as the journal instructed, I spoke the words, my voice trembling. The journal, its pages yellowed and brittle, had been passed down through generations, each entry a testament to the horrors that had plagued the Blackwood family. As I read the incantation, I could feel the weight of history pressing down on me, the voices of the past whispering in my ear. A cold wind swept through the room, the mirror grew cloudy. Then an image appeared, not of Eleanor, but of a man. He was handsome. The sudden chill in the air made me shiver, and the mirror's surface seemed to ripple like water. As the image took shape, I felt a sense of dread wash over me. This was not the spirit I had expected to see, but his eyes were filled with malice. He spoke, his gaze was piercing, his eyes dark and full of hatred. The voice that emerged from the mirror was not human, but a guttural growl that sent chills down my spine. It was a voice that spoke of pain and suffering, of a curse that had been passed down through the ages. His voice a guttural growl. The words he spoke were filled with venom, each syllable dripping with malice. "You cannot escape me, Arthur," he said, his voice echoing in the dark room. "I am the true curse of Blackwood Manor. You cannot escape me, Arthur." The words echoed in my mind, a chilling reminder of the darkness that had haunted my family for generations. I recoiled in fear, my heart pounding in my chest. The realization that I was not alone, that this malevolent spirit had been watching me, waiting for this moment, was almost too much to bear. I am the true curse of Blackwood Manor. The manor, with its decaying walls and haunted halls, had always been a place of mystery and fear. But now I understood the true nature of the curse that had plagued my family. It was not just a place, but a presence, a malevolent force that had been waiting in the shadows, biding its time. The locket in my hand pulsed with icy cold. I looked down. The locket, once a symbol of love and hope, now felt like a weight around my neck, a reminder of the darkness that had consumed my family. As I opened it, the cold metal sent a shiver down my spine, at the faded picture inside. It wasn't Eleanor. The image inside the locket was faded and worn, but it was unmistakable. It was not the face of Eleanor, the woman I had loved and lost. It was a face I knew all too well. It was me, a younger me, before I knew. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. The face in the locket was my own, a younger version of myself before the weight of the curse had taken its toll. Before I knew the truth about my family, about the darkness that lurked within us, that I was a Blackwood, and that the evil lived within me. The truth was undeniable. I was a Blackwood, and the curse that had haunted my family for generations was now my burden to bear. The evil that had consumed my ancestors was now a part of me, a darkness that I could not escape. As I stood in that dark, ominous room, I knew that my life would never be the same. The haunting truth had been revealed, and there was no turning